How you doing, man? Today we got Quant debunks feminist logic. Off the back, we know feminists do not use logic. So let's see how he breaks it down.
Hi there, I'm a retired Wall Street quantitative researcher.
Okay.
And in this video, I'm going
Horrendous selfie. What the fuck?
to prove using math and logic that feminism is not only illogical, but is in fact a female supremacy movement.
Oh.
I'm going to step through 5 separate data points in order to elucidate my argument. Let's get into
Elucidate.
it. So
I need to up my vocabulary. Elucidate.
I'll start out
what
with
does that even
these
mean?
two graphs, men and women. Y-axis is respect, x-axis is promiscuity. This says whore. My handwriting is bad.
Terrible.
So you can see for men, the level of respect goes up as they get more bodies. When they get up here, they become a stud or a playboy. Whereas for a woman, it starts at the top, the Virgin Mary, and then it goes down as they get bodies. And then
that's
down
standard.
Here, they're a whore.
But even this doesn't always happen. Like, I'm not gonna lie, if you don't get bread, or if you don't work out, sometimes even if you do work out, you know what I'm saying? This is not guaranteed. This is guaranteed.
You know that this is intrinsically the worst insult for a woman, because even when women, feminist women, get into fights with each other, the strongest insult they can think of, they go with whore. They say, shut up, you whore. They don't say, shut up, you virgin, because that wouldn't really hit. You know, she'd be like Virgin Mary. I don't understand. Why is that an insult? But with a man, the strongest insult is to basically call him an incel.
That's a fact.
Right? Involuntary celibate. Is to basically say, man, shut up, you pathetic incel. And that hurts for a man because he isn't able to get bodies. And so we know intrinsically that the shape of these graphs are true. This is based on supply and demand, and the supply and demand imbalance in the hookup market. See, a woman can have sex whenever she wants to, but a man needs to qualify for sex and jump through many hoops. So
Bro,
because of this, a woman
even
who
at
puts
the end
out
of the graph, let's be real, a hungry brother will still eat down here.
Often is judged as easy, while a man who gets sex often is seen as accomplished, or 100%. A stud, or a playboy. But it evens out, because on the opposite end of the spectrum, a woman who's a virgin is respected as disciplined and virtuous, and a man who's a virgin is just seen as pathetic. The point I would like to make is that...
Bro, I saw this quote. I think I go from like HB. Help a brother out. I forgot his name. The talk show podcast something on YouTube. He said like, a keeper that lets in hella goals is a shit keeper, but you know what I'm saying, a striker that scores all the goals is a valid striker, and we know why, because it takes skill. If you're just letting anything pass you, what are we doing, man? Your decision making skills are already out the window.
It's actually symmetric about the y-axis, and the area under the line is equal for both genders. So both genders currently get the equal amount of respect, and you hear feminists often say, oh, feminism means equality, but it's all...
Okay. Let's just stop that whole bullshit off the back. Feminism has not meant equality since the 1960s, okay? From the sexual revolution, well, that's 1970s, same thing. From that point onwards, it's been, I want to be above. I want to be better than you. We can confirm, I want to be a man, but better. It's never been about equality since then. The first two waves, they were actually fighting for something. The last 3 or 2, it's been just, I don't want judgment. I want to be able to do what I want without judgment. Like, shut up.
Already equal. See, the problem with feminists is that they complain about slut shaming because they're focusing on this part where the graph goes down, and then they look at this going up, and they complain about that, but they take this part of the graph for granted. So they'll complain about slut shaming while virgin shaming men and saying, man, shut up, you incel. Maybe if you paid for dinner for a change, you'd actually get to have sex with a girl someday. You know, they'll say something like that and it'll hurt a guy's feelings, but they want to be able to retain that kind of an insult. They're happy with the shape of this graph. And I don't have a problem with the shape of this graph, to be clear. This is just nature. But likewise, I don't have a problem with the shape of this graph either. They're symmetric. This is equal. So what feminists actually want is for this line to not go down, but for it to go straight like
that makes no sense.
So they want the same high level of respect regardless of where they are on the promiscuity spectrum. And that would double the amount of respect that a man gets, right? Because the man only gets this triangle shape of respect. So you can see how that's illogical, right? And how that's a female supremacist position.
I'll never understand why they say, why do you judge me on my body? Ma'am, that's your choice. You choose not to judge men on your body, on his bodies. We do.
Why
Same
should
game.
one gender get double the default respect of the other gender? You see how that doesn't make mathematical sense? The next point is about how feminists will bully men to accept fully figured women, which is just code word for fat. So they'll say things like, Lizzo is beautiful, and if you don't think so, you're sexist.
Compare her to Lizzo.
And what's so hypocritical about
Call her Lizzo. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, you're looking like Lizzo right now. They will bug out.
this is that they're still heightist towards men. So they'll still discriminate men based on height. They'll openly mock men who are short. And the
What would you do if I was with a batty out as well?
problem with this is that it's healthy.
Never trust short men. Short men are a plague on the world. Oh my god. I dislike. Okay, so this is abuse. I hate short men. Okay, this is just
To lose weight.
Come on, bro.
It's better for your heart.
Come on, man.
It's usually a sign of lack of discipline. So you should encourage people.
I dare you say I hate ugly bitches. Oh, sorry. One sec. I dare you say I hate ugly bitches or I hate ugly bitches or I hate fat bitches. It's over. You lost.
However, being short is just in your genetics. There's nothing you can do about it. So, if anything, you should shame people who are overweight. But being short should be a protected class. It should be against the cultural rules to mock people who are short. Yet, somehow, in feminism, it's the opposite. Being overweight is the protected class, but being short is like open season.
No. Being overweight is not protected. No. Being overweight is protected class for women. If you're a fat man, it's over. It's curtains. You get cooked just as much.
The reason feminists take this position is because it's only women who care about height in men. Men don't really care if women are short. And that's why heightism isn't an issue to women. Shakira is in the 4-foot club. She's like 4'10" or something. Kylie.
There's no way she's 4'11" or any of that. Her proportions is crazy. She looks tall as shit.
No, he's also like 4 foot something. I mean, these women are seen as beautiful and hot. And you could be really like a tall Victoria's Secret model and be really hot too. So men don't really discriminate women based on.
I don't know, I can't lie. I'm like 6'2". I can't go for someone that's like 6'1" or 6'3". I could never do that, bro. I can't do that, bro. Can't do that. That shit will emasculate me.
Right. But women do. And therein lies the hypocrisy. So my next point is about the common complaint feminists make about lack of females in these executive jobs, the C-suite jobs.
Oh yeah, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I'm all for equity. I say we push, and not even push, force women into the C-suites and into like I'm saying high members of politics, and we also force them into the dumpster jobs. You're saying I'm down for it. I'm down to remove men from government and from like CEO positions to equal it out 50-50. And I'm down to remove men from the coal mining, the dumpster jobs, all of that, and force women into there too. I'm down 100%. Who's with me?
The partners at law firms, they often complain about how this should be 50-50, but then they completely ignore the fact that these jobs at the bottom, coal mining.
Yeah, like why is women in STEM? Why not women in coal mining?
Sanitation work, truckers are disproportionately men. 95% of workplace deaths are by men.
Oh my
God.
And
75% of the homeless are men. And they completely ignore the gender disparities down here. Now, I am superimposing job income distribution chart on top of an IQ chart, so I hope you guys can follow this. But one thing people don't seem to know is that the average IQ scores between men and women have little variation. So the mean IQ between men and women is roughly identical. However, the variability of male IQ scores is greater than.
Oh, so like some guys can be dumb as shit and they can be super, super smart. But women like they're just, majority of them are in between the average range.
Females, resulting in more males than females in both the top and the bottom parts of the IQ distribution. So the male IQ,
why do men vary so much more?
The bell curve is more of a fat-tailed distribution. And since IQ and income are correlated, it would logically follow that men would make up most of the best jobs and most of the worst jobs.
Of course.
While women would mostly do all the jobs in between. Now, when you talk about equality, this is already equal. because it's symmetric. It's fair that you have all the jobs in the middle if men get the best and the worst jobs. Yet feminists only focus on the top half.
I don't know if it's equal, gang. I don't know if it's equal. So they get to chill in the office while these guys are fiending. I mean, and suffering in here. 95% of deaths. I think we need to turn that 95 all the way down to. You know what I'm saying, take 45% of that, and then we can have a discussion.
And completely ignore the bottom half.
I
Again,
feel like it's very
attempting to
unequal. We gotta go for.
superimpose the probability density function of the IQ score graph with job income graph onto the same chart. What feminists actually want is for this curve to stay there, but then for this to go like that, wider, and to align with the male curve right here. If
These
you take
bitches,
the
I'm not gonna
mean
lie, they just want to beef biology at this point. Just stop beefing us, beef biology directly. Don't beef us.
of that new wider curve, then the average salary of a woman would move over here, while the average salary of a male would stay right there. Now, how is that equality? That's female supremacy.
That's true.
And this is why feminists using these sleight of hand tactics are actually pushing female supremacy, not equality. This is already equal. The next point is about how feminists will
Oh, don't even get me started on this bullshit, bro. On my life, this is what we need to do. We need to have government intervention on this bullshit, okay? You can't have your cake and eat it. This is the problem. They keep telling them, you can have it all. No, you cannot, ma'am. Pick a side. Either you're against traditionalism or you're with it. Can't say, I'm a feminist. I want to be a partnership, but you're paying for every day. Suck a dick. Yo, bro, I'm done with that. I'm done, bro. These selective feminists, bro, I'm done, bro.
complain about traditionalism and traditional gender roles, yet they want you to pay for dates.
Women
and
hold
this
up
is
the
a pretty
patriarchy more than men,
mainstream
bro.
feminist position.
Women
Now,
genuinely
in
hold
the
up the
past
patriarchy
with
more.
chivalry, it made sense that men should pay for things because women were not earning money.
Chivalry's been dead for a couple decades, gang. Gotta leave it be.
And so it was just seen as a counterbalancing gesture.
Of course.
And that doesn't hold true today now, where there's all these DEI initiatives that make sure that women are getting paid the same amount as men. With that being the case, why should men continue to pay for meals? Like, you can't be selectively traditional and selectively progressive and pick and choose when it benefits your gender, right? No. Same concept as all my previous points. By doing that, you are on average pushing for female supremacy. All right, the next point I want to cover is how feminists complain about male athletes being paid more than female.
Bro, and you know what's the funniest thing? The people who fight for basketball, I mean the WNBA, the most, I promise you they can't even name one player. I promise you they haven't watched one game. If all the bitches that argue for the WNBA actually watched the WNBA, the league would be flipping billions. It would be billions.
Female athletes, but ignore when female models get paid more than male models.
And OF models.
Both are fair because both are based on capitalism. If people pay to see a gender in that role,
they want socialism.
You make more. One overarching idea that I hear feminists complain about is how they don't get treated with the same respect as men when they get older in looks-based industries like acting. So in this graph I made, it's y-axis looks, x-axis
the thing is, they take their...
I've had this legend up here, the hot woman.
You know what it is? You don't know your privilege until it's gone, right? So they're thinking in their 20s, this is natural, this is normal, this is life. And then once reality smacks them in the face at 30, then they're like, oh my God, take me back. I can't have this. Equality. Stop, bitch.
Peaks really early. This is like roughly 21 or something, where she's a 10.
5%.
And then her looks fade at 30. You know,
that's fucked up. That's fucked up. That's fucked up. Okay, that's too far.
Goes down. The successful man starts off lower, but then as he gets more and more successful at his job, he eventually peaks in his mid to late 30s, and then it goes down. And this is your Don Draper character that I'm talking about here.
That's him from before?
James Bond, the competent, suave older gentleman. And I put a line here at age 30 because for a lot of women, 30 is the tipping point when they really want to get married, because they recognize their value is going down and they got to enjoy this ride being single in their 20s.
Leo is living his best life. Leo, I'm not gonna lie, you don't care.
Man, so that they can ride this wave up for another decade or two. And then in older age, there's just the inevitable decline for both. But this is still higher than where they are. Now, keep in mind, this is only for a successful man. Let's talk about average woman and average man.
They don't want to talk about average
woman is still higher than the average man. She definitely gets treated better in her 20s, but then by 30, it goes downhill. The average man who's just kind of like a bumbling Homer Simpson, he doesn't really get much of a looks based bump,
No, but the average
and
woman
it
has the
tracks the
ego
average
of the
female,
of
but
the
it's
of the
always
famous one.
lower. Throughout the entire lifetime, an average woman will be treated better on the looks basis than the average man. And this is partially because women
I don't
culturally
think
wear
any
makeup.
woman now genuinely believes they're average. They all believe they're in this section.
So the average woman can be better looking than if she weren't wearing makeup. So in a lot of ways, that accounts for that gap between the average man and the average woman. Now, my issue with feminists is that, for example, in the acting industry, you'll see countless articles about beautiful young actresses who made their millions of dollars. As they hit
Oh,
30,
don't
they'll
even get.
notice
I
that
swear,
the
Scarlett
acting roles
Johansson
go
did that. She
away,
started
and
bitching
they'll
after
cry
she like
about it and
turned 40 or
call it a
something.
feminist issue. And you'll see these pairings where they'll cast like a James Bond character who's at this age with a hot young vixen who's at that age, and they'll say, oh, that's not fair. But that's nature. You see this in nature all the time, the age gap relationship, because this is what people naturally want, and this is what people want to see on screen. What feminists don't
Fucking hell.
realize is that they got treated better than the equivalent young male. They got cast in way more roles. They got way more opportunities based on their looks in their 20s. And they simply
Oh,
take
they
that for
don't care, but they know this. Deep down, they know this, right? But they just don't care because they want it more. They want more. They will never have enough.
granted. And then they focus on this part only and complain about this part where the men got a little bit of a bump. Keep in mind, this is only successful men, which is a really small percentage of men.
Bro, that's the only men they see. You think they see this line? Yo, this line doesn't exist.
And so, what feminists want is for this zigzaggy line to stay here and then stay above this circly line of successful men. With my previous graphs, if you talk about the area under the curve as a way of measuring total respect, one thing you'll notice is that for the average woman versus the average man, women still get net more respect than men on a looks basis. And between the hot woman and the successful man, it's roughly the same level of respect. The area under the curve for this is roughly the same as the area under the curve for this. But white feminists that represent the hot woman of Hollywood want this line to stay above the male line the whole time so that they get to enjoy the extra privilege they get in their 20s while also enjoying the same privilege that hot successful men get post 30, which
They will
on
never be
average
happy.
is more respect than every male. Again, as with the theme of my previous charts, that's not equality. The existing system is already equal. You just get your respect up front in your 20s, and then these
The
successful men
only people losing genuinely is the average.
get their respect later after
Men,
30.
not the women. Men.
Yet they're not happy with that. They take for granted below 30 and then they complain about above 30. That's not equality. That's female supremacy. All right, so those are the 5 points. And
I
you'll
agree with
notice the
everything he said in this
overarching
video.
theme across all 5 points is that the existing paradigm is already equal. It's already symmetric. However, feminists have this myopic view where they only focus on the part of the graph where they feel like they have a disadvantage, and they want that part of the graph to be equal. And that creates this asymmetry where, on average, they now have privilege over men. And the issues with men and women.
You know what my whole thing is, right? I genuinely wouldn't care enough if they kept it a buck. Like if they came out and said, right, this is my whole thing. This is the whole problem I have with the people that are pro-choice. If you said, and I quote, "I want the right to absolutely take out my baby in my stomach," and just kept it a buck, I 100% would have been like, "Oh, I bet I disagree, but I respect the honesty." It's they try to deconstruct it to make it sound better, so they feel better about it. Oh, I wanna remove the fetus from my stomach. Like you get what I'm saying. Like they dehumanize it so it seems less than what they're actually doing. They do this a lot of the time because they want to make themselves feel better about what they're actually trying to do. They don't want equality, they want superiority, but they say, I'm less than, I want more than. And most of them right now, I'm not gonna lie, they don't even want more than, they think it's revenge. Like they feel, what's the word? They have like a mental idea of that they suffered what their ancestors suffered. So now they have to get revenge for their ancestors on us. You get what I'm saying?
Is that it's often a zero-sum game where a woman's gain is a man's loss. So if a woman reaches 75%, then a man goes down to 25%. And where it should be is 50-50, right? Feminism is supposed to be about equality, so it should be 50-50. So my contention is that feminists, at least third and fourth wave feminism, modern feminism, it's a sleight of hand tactic where they point to first and second wave feminism and say, hey, see, we were victims at that time. And they they point to the past, but in the present, they are now in the advantageous position. They have more privilege, and the pendulum has swung too far.
Easy.
And they seem to be okay with that because they sort of view it as an intergenerational revenge.
I'm telling you, but I don't know what happened in 2020, but everything just like, you don't really feel it until 2025 or 2024, like the end of it. 2020 is when shit went overdrive left. It went overdrive to the left, bro. Oh my days.
The past, but that's not really a fair way to look at it. And honestly, it's causing a lot of bigger issues. Gender relations between men and women are at all-time lows in the Western world now, where this brand of third and fourth.
I low-key blame the internet as well, like the media, because like they make these women be nothing. First of all, don't even get me started on the bear shit. Like the man was a bit retard. You know what I'm saying? Like I would never entertain that.
Way feminism is taking over culture. I would really suggest that we swing back to actual equality.
Like it's not even it's not a plausible argument.
Like the male loneliness crisis. A lot of these societal issues we're seeing are the unintended consequences of toxic.
A man who stays home to look after his children is less of a man. Oh my God. %, what? Disagree. I define myself as a feminist. Gen Z see it more than the millennials and the boomers. How do millennials see it? Yo, this is not, we've gone too far promoting women's equality that we are discriminating against. Oh no, they've never given a fuck. But maybe the millennials. Now the boomers thought, this shit from the beginning, the boomers already thought it was, yo, nah, what?
Third and fourth wave feminism. So let me know your thoughts in the comments and please be polite. Take care.
I'm not gonna lie, man, hey, what does this tell us? Women will never have enough. We can confirm. Anyways, man, I appreciate, man, for watching this video. Like and comment, subscribe. Comment down below what you guys, how you feel about this video and what you want me to react to next. I'm gonna see you, man, tomorrow.